Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 32 of Only a Podcast. So, hello, Captain. What we got for this episode?
Hello, Captain. We've got all sorts of things, as usual. This being the first real proper one after we've resumed. So, as the two Ronnies used to say, in a packed programme tonight, we explore some anniversaries, and was one of them the most important day in musical history? We shall find out. A new animated series. We probably won't find out, but we'll talk about it, and then you can tell us if it's rubbish. A new animated series reimagines Elvis as a secret agent. But could that have actually happened? And we've got some random facts that have popped up since the last episode. I visited one of the best rock and pop channels on YouTube. And we continue your jazz odyssey. Nice.
Great. Yeah.
See how that goes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll start with culture catch-up, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that. I can kick that off if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
With a YouTube channel called Beat Club. Which sounds suitably 60s and 70s, and it is. It's a German music program that ran from, he read, September 1965 to December 1972. Crikey. So it's kind of like it started out like the German equivalent of Top of the Pops, really, because there's a lot of miming and in the black and white episodes from early on. But they branched out, and when it went into colour, it's a whole lot more interesting because there's a lot of live stuff going on it. And it's brilliant. They must have saved things in their archives, unlike a lot of TV companies which just chucked all the tapes away.
Tape was too expensive.
Didn't do anything with them. Yeah, just taped over the stuff. Yeah. But there's oodles of stuff on the Beat Club channel, Beat-Club on YouTube. It does feature Dave Lee Travis at some point. There you go. But it's mostly Uschi Nerke, I think. Is that how it's pronounced? Young lady presenting in German. And it has lots of massive stars of the 60s and 70s. I read again. Jimi Hendrix, James Brown, The Who, Johnny Cash. Some fantastic performances from them, but it's the kind of middle-level bands that you don't see too often elsewhere that come off best, I think, from this.
I'm thinking about Fanny.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because it's some fantastic performances by the all-women 70s band. Brilliant stuff. Stone the Crows, Maggie Bell's old band, really good. What else have I seen? Stephen Still's band Manassas. Lovely country rock on there. Terrific stuff. And there's one I just watched, which is Head, Hands and Feet. Jazz from Chaz and Dave on bass, Chaz Hodges, and the mighty Albert Lee on guitar. And if you want to be made feel rather queasy by fantastic telecastering, then that's the place to go. There is a version of Country Boy on there where he finger picks his way to heaven. Basically, it's just
quite,
amazing.
Quite a player, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's decent player.
Not bad.
Know what I mean? So if that sounds like your musical thing, then head over to Beat-Club on YouTube and
we'll put links in for it and all that stuff.
70s rock. Yeah, we will, as usual.
Cool. I'll go next. So I went out.
Not again.
I went out to a place. Down here, we've got the currently happening is the Dunedin Fringe. So obviously being twinned with Edinburgh, they have a Fringe festival down here and it's great. And I went and saw a comedian, stand-up comedian called Charmian Hughes, female lady comedian. She's a friend of a friend, so from back in the UK. She's British. She was very, very funny. Go see her if you get a chance. It was in the New Anatheum Theatre in Dunedin, which I've never been in there before. It's in the basement of a library, and it looks like a crack den. It's let's say it's in a state of disrepair. I'm amazed they let the public in there.
Yeah, we've got one of those up here as well.
Yeah, it's incredible. But Yeah, I'd hate to think what the old Athenaeum Theatre looks like, but that's the new one. So that was really good. And culture catch up wise, a couple of other bits, and I'll go back to you, Captain. I've started watching. Talk about behind the curve here. I've started watching Breaking Bad, which I know. Not new, and everyone in the world has seen it. And I'm into season 2, and it's fab. I don't know if I'll get to the end or not. But yeah, it's I think it's every bit as good as they say. I don't think you've seen it, have you, Captain?
I think it's going to carry on passing me by, I think. I did watch series 1, and it didn't grab me for some reason. I don't know. I was given a bunch of dodgy rips by a friend of mine who had all the DVDs. Which DVDs? What? Were they still on DVD then? Anyway. And it just hasn't got me. I doubt whether I'll have the time to catch up. It's just difficult enough watching normal things that come along. So, but I fully understand the degree of reverence, which is. I know,
there's so much.
But the thing, did I ever said this before? The thing that I couldn't quite get over was Bryan Cranston being not the dad from Malcolm in the Middle.
I never watched that, so I wouldn't.
Kind of. Yeah. Just like there was just that. No, he's not even. He's not. Yeah, he's not remotely. He wouldn't do things like make drugs. Yeah. Anyway, I couldn't get over that.
Yeah, so obviously that's great. Everyone knows how great that is. So I don't need to say anything. And I've also started watching, and I don't know how this happened, but I just started watching it. It's been running for a few series now on Netflix. Formula One. I don't know if you ever dipped into that. I've got no interest in Formula One whatsoever. Never have really.
No, I haven't.
But this is quite. It's quite something. It's just behind the scenes of the Formula One world.
Okay.
It's quite interesting. Watched a few episodes. It's all right. I don't know if I'll get all the way up to. It's up to date, kind of. There's been about 5 seasons of it, so I don't know if I'll ever get up to date with it. But it's been quite interesting. I see why the people that love Formula One enjoy it.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I've got me. For those not watching, I'm holding the book up to the camera. I'm still on this. The Girl in the Spider Web. It's it's jogging along nicely. It's great stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Awesome.
Over to you.
Yeah. Well, what have I been watching? Well, I've started to watch Agent Elvis on Netflix, which is a new adult. When I say adult, I don't mean porn. Yeah. I mean, it's got some sketchy bits in it. It's not for kids, even though it's an animated series. And it's kind of, well, I guess it's a reimagining. It's Elvis Presley is a secret agent saving the world between his Las Vegas concerts. He has a chimp as a sidekick.
Is this new? Or is this an old thing?
No, it's. I think it's new. It's certainly new on Netflix to me. Yeah, and it basically sort of slightly reimagines Elvis's famous meeting with Richard Nixon into sort of a spy context. Because, and you can go and Google this, folks, and I'll find a link to the article. I think Elvis did meet with Nixon at one point because of vague public relations exercise between the two. I think they thought they would. Get something from it.
Elvis get an FBI badge?
That's what he was after. He's kind of collected things from the police badges and all that kind of stuff, and he was after, and these things are just not given out. But Nixon especially made it happen, I think. There's a famous picture of them both shaking hands, and Elvis in one of his fantastic outfits with the cape at the back and the big badge on the belt, and
I can tell you a fact about that photo.
Exchanging guns or something.
That famous photo you're talking about. Did you know that is the most requested photo in the American Photo Archive, or whatever it's called? That's the most requested photo.
Yeah. Excellent. Anyway, the series, it's bonkers. Elvis takes drugs. Kids, don't do that. Matthew McConaughey is voicing Elvis, and it's absolutely rammed with famous people, either guest stars or on the thing. Caitlin Olsen, Don Cheadle's in it. And Elvis variously pummels bad guys to death with spare hands.
Karate?
It is actually
karate move.
There's lots of that. There's lots of that going on, and it's approved by the family, approved by Elvis's estate. Priscilla, who does one of the voices herself. So even though it's full of things of him taking drugs and beating the crap out of people, it is officially approved.
It's endorsed
Elvis Entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild, and I guarantee that although some of it is fairly puerile, there are laughs in there. So go and check it out. Jim especially.
I definitely will. Good one. I noticed last week, or a couple of weeks ago, Blue Monday by New Order turned 40 years old.
Yeah.
7th of March 1983 it was released. So another one of those passage of time things where that was closer to the end of the Second World War than it is to today. Yeah. One of those things. But so, well, as we know, Blue Monday was the biggest selling 12-inch single of all time in the UK. It sold over 700,000 in its original 12-inch format, and it's gone on re-releases and so on to sell well over 1 million. But as we know, they made no money, or they may have even made a loss from that 12-inch
I believe so.
Yeah, because the manufacturing costs, because there were like cutouts on the sleeve, and it was a really fancy packaging, and it ended up costing them money.
Saddle artwork, more or less.
That's right.
With every copy.
Yeah. So that got me looking at the chart from that day, which I'll just run through quickly because it's quite interesting. This is from the chart from 6th of March 1983, which was right in the middle of my I was 13, 14 at this point. So you've got Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart at number 1, and you've got Billie Jean, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, Africa, Too Shy, Never Gonna Give You Up, Musical Youth, that is. You got the Thompson Twins, Spandau Ballet, Fun Boy 3, they're all in there. There's some a couple of my absolute favourites artist bands of all time. Orange Juice and Aztec Camera are both in there. With Rip It Up and Oblivious. That's quite a chart.
Good times.
Personally. And going down this chart, I saw a band called Joboxers.
Yep.
Had a couple of hits. It's quite good. I thought it was quite good. The Boxer Beat, I think, was their big hit.
Maybe 1.5.
Yeah. So, and I learnt something about them just recently, and this reminded me of it. And I don't know if you know the background of that group, do you? Do you know where they came from?
No.
No, neither did I until a few weeks ago. So they came out of the back of Subway Sect. Unlikely. So Subway Sect were a punk band, I guess you'd call them. Vic Goddard and co. So it was all so it was Rob Marsh, Dave Collard, Chris Bostock, and Sean McCluskey. So Subway Sect teamed up with this American singer, Dig Wayne, who was just from Boxer Beat, and so they came out of a punk band, Subway Sect, and I never knew that until recently.
No,
so
neither did I.
No, so that's quite interesting. Little bit of a fact for you there. So it made me think, and this is one for the listeners or the viewers. Other bands that kind of all the members of the band bar one went on to form another band. There must be others, are there?
Well, one that instantly springs to mind is when Fergal Sharkey left the Undertones, and the Undertones then became That Petrol Emotion.
Ah, yeah, good one.
With Steve Mack, the American
of course.
singer.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that one for starters, but there are probably many more.
There must be. So all the music nerds out there, get in touch via the usual channels and let us know. So, I found that a bit interesting, the chart from 83. And then you sent me a message a couple of days ago about Please Please Me.
Well, there was the other anniversary too, March 22, which is not 22.
That's today.
Is that today?
It's where we are. Yeah.
It is where we are. I was at 25. I checked it in Revolution in the Head.
Hang on, folks. Have you got it too? So I can't see it.
There we go. Yours is a different one. Mine's a hardback, you see. Hardback. Lovely. I checked it with Revolution in the Head, and it said March 22, 1963, as when the LP Please Please Me was released with the greatest side one, track one of all time. I saw her standing there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Can't argue with that.
But was that as you opined to me on the WhatsApp, the greatest, one of the greatest, or the greatest, most important musical event in history. When Please Please Me came out, I could probably rewind that to say, if that is, then October 5th, 1962 was when Love Me Do hit the shops. So if you're going to talk the first blip of the Beatles, then that was it. But I get your point.
Well, I looked
album as album, you know.
Yeah, because it wasn't their first record, was it? No. I looked into this a bit myself last night. I questioned myself on that, and I don't know if it is the most important moment in the history of rock, pop, whatever, because, of course, some years before that, Elvis burst on the scene, didn't he? The Ed Sullivan Show appearance. True. Was that the biggest moment? Back. Probably wouldn't have had the Beatles without...
No, I did find another date, which was January the 27th, 1956, which is when Heartbreak Hotel came out. And so many of your actual rockers go, well, when I heard that on the radio...
Everything changed.
Everything changed. Yeah. It's weird and strange, and it is weird. It's a very, very strange thing, even to this day, Heartbreak Hotel. So, yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, you can go back into when Louis Armstrong first picked up a trumpet, or, you know, but it's another one for the viewers, listeners, and therefore they
defining
could maybe...
moments.
When are the defining moments for you in popular music history?
Oftentimes they talk about David Bowie on Top of the Pops doing Starman.
That's true.
Not from a musical perspective
Indeed.
so much, but from a cultural perspective, you know, implied homosexuality, because Mick Ronson put his arm around him. Well, he put his arm around Mick Ronson, and he was dressed like a weirdo.
People realise
that opened the door for other people, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So, let us know, folks. Genre.
There are lots of those things.
Genre defining, or
I strongly remember to the day taking the Clash's first album round to my mates after I bought it straight away, and dropping the needle on it and Janie Jones coming out the speakers, and it definitely changed us that particular day. But some of my friends were scratching their heads wondering, are we supposed to like this? But I thought, oh my God, this is amazing.
I reckon there'll be some younger people will have views on this as well, because they had some great, you know, like when Arctic Monkeys came along, for example, that was big, that was huge at the time. If you were in that age group, if you were that generation, I think it was huge, because it was something completely new, and the way it came about was completely new as well. But yeah, interesting stuff. What else you got?
What else have I got?
Yeah.
Well, after we made a comment, and it was reinforced in this house when we finished watching Happy Valley, which, folks, is one of the best police procedurals there's ever been. It's now finished. Series 3 is finished.
No spoilers.
And there was a comment in this.
I've watched
no
the first
spoilers.
episode.
No, I'm not going to get any spoilers. But there was a comment in this house when in some of the two-handers that were being acted on the screen. How could they say that to each other? You know, they're sisters. How could they say that? Which led to me, because I come from there, saying they could absolutely say that, because that's the kind of thing that they say in that part of West Yorkshire, even though you're related, not backward and coming forward, as it were. So I decided to look up the credentials of Sally Wainwright, the writer, and discovered that she was a year ahead of my sister at school and 3 years below me in the same school. Wow. So, it's no wonder that it was spot on. It's not just a bunch of random northerners being northern. It is actually specific to the place in which it was filmed.
Yeah, well, you can't get more authentic than that, I guess, right?
I suppose not. You know, I'm not saying that. No, you know, all the actors are from there. James Norton certainly isn't, but and maybe more. But it gets very valley specific in its language, and that's great. That was a random thing I discovered since we stopped watching it after the last episode.
Oh, interesting. Okay, there's another one for the listeners. Famous people from your school.
Oh yeah.
I've got a big one.
I can only think of another one from that particular school, which was Roger Hargreaves, the guy who drew the Mr. Men.
Nice. That's all right. That's a good one.
Gasp.
Yeah. There's been a few from my school, a few footballers from my school. It was an all-boys comprehensive in East London. But most notably in my class, actually, not just in my school, was Lee McQueen. Someone called Lee McQueen, who went on to become Alexander McQueen, the fashion designer.
Yeah.
He was in my class at school.
Before. I think you've mentioned that to me before. But
I may have said it on here before, I don't know. But yeah, let's have a competition. Who's got the most famous person from their school?
Yeah. Brilliant. Go on, folks.
Yeah.
You've got to beat those. You've got to beat them.
Try and beat that if you can, yeah. I noticed something on a TV commercial. I noticed it ages and ages ago, and I'm going to mention it, and I might say something controversial. Hopefully I don't, but I might. Now, over here in NZ, there's a TV commercial. I'm sure you've seen it, Captain, which is for Anchor, the milk. We don't like the dairy industry. We won't talk about that.
No.
And it's a young Indian boy, and he's at home with his mum, and they're having a lunch share thing at school the next day. You know, you'll bring in some.
I have seen that. Yeah,
make some food, bring it in to share with your class. His mum suggests they make this kind of Indian dessert, milk-based Indian dessert thing, kalakand or something it's called. And he's a bit worried because his class might think it's weird because it's an Indian dish and all that. So anyway, he makes his thing. He takes it into school the next day, and you see him there sharing out, and he's really happy because all of his classmates are all around him and they're all eating it and they're all going, "Oh, this is great," blah, 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 blah. If you look right to the end, you can see one of the girls spitting it out. And I think one of the other boys is also, so she's eating it. Sorry to those not watching, she's eating it, and you just see her go spit it into her hand. Right. How did that get through the edit and onto TV?
I'm aghast. I shall watch out for it next time around.
So,
maybe it's even on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, and we'll share a link to it. Someone in the comments on the YouTube video says, I worked for that production company. I was there at the day of that filming, and as is normal, kids are not allowed to actually eat.
They're not allowed to eat things,
but still, it made it into the edit. This girl spitting this food out, and
why would you put that in?
I think there might be something sinister afoot with that, but I'm not going to say anything controversial there. But yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's clear. You just look at the last couple of seconds of the ad on the left hand side. There's a girl clearly spits the food out. So yeah, so we'll share a link to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I was not aware of that, but I will.
No, you won't unsee it now once you've seen it.
No. Oh, blimey. No way.
Yeah. What else we got? Are we nearly there?
What else we got? I think we're nearly there. I've got to tidy up from last episode because we were both scratching our heads to name the actress that was in The Fabelmans. We're hopeless. But it's Michelle Williams, of course. Who was in The Greatest Showman and Brokeback Mountain and Venom and Manchester by the Sea and lots of other films, and we should remember that.
Yep. Oscars last week. We haven't got Oscars on our list, but did you?
We haven't done the Oscars.
We talked about the Oscars. Last year was more interesting when there was a punch-up. No punch-ups this year. But, I did try, or me and the missus tried to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We tried to watch it, and we got about 45 minutes, an hour in, and we just looked at each other and went, "No, it's just not working." We just turned it off, and we watched Phantom of the Open instead. Have you watched that?
Okay. Oh,
which is a different story altogether. It's about the guy that blagged his way into the British Open golf. Yeah. Anyway,
coincidentally, we rewatched Everything Everywhere last night. We all still enjoyed it.
I need to go again. Obviously, it cleaned up at the Oscars.
Yeah.
I might have just bailed 10 minutes too early.
Maybe. Yeah, it does get slightly more coherent the further you go. It's a very confusing. It is Everything Everywhere all at once in a movie. There's an awful lot of jump cuts, and if you're at all affected by flashing lights and that kind of stuff, you're going to be affected by those. But I have never, as I said last time around, when came out and we went to see it. I've never ever seen an emotional reaction, especially from the young folks in a cinema like it.
Right.
Yeah, there was. Did I tell this anecdote? I can't remember. We came out and there was a bar in the cinema, and there was a sticker above the bar, and it said "No crying" in the bar. And before we went in, I wondered what that meant, and after I came out, I knew.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I've got to get back onto that. I can't let that one go. So yeah, watch this space. I would have watched it by next episode.
It's the rocks that do it to you.
Okay.
Wait till you get to the rocks, man.
Fair enough. I haven't got to that.
Righty ho.
Yeah, my jazz guitar odyssey continues. Just give you an update on that. So I've I'm on my way through 2 jazz standards now. We've done All Blues and Autumn Leaves. I've just started on There Is No Greater Love, which is a lovely one. So I'm improving. It's great.
It's cool. We're going to have a bit of a demonstration in future at some point.
Yeah, I will. I'll play on the podcast one of these days, whether you like it or not. Yeah. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So that's all I've got to say. I just want to give a quick shout out to a mate of mine who I spoke to a few days ago. Haven't spoke to him in a very long time. He's been having a really shit time. So if you're listening, mate, chin up. It's all good. Yeah. That's me.
We're out of here.
We're out of here, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you're watching. Everything we've talked about, we'll put in the show notes, which will be also at the bottom of the YouTube video in the description bit. Hopefully we can figure out how to put a subscribe button on here. But on YouTube, we've actually got quite a lot of listeners and viewers from our previous episode.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think we're right in going down the video route because we definitely getting more people watching than we are just listening. So, but make sure you subscribe, then you'll get notified when you.
There should be a little logo becomes visible in the middle. Will that be the middle? Will that be the middle? There'd be the middle at the top. There'd be a logo, and you can click that to subscribe, or you could just do it on the bits underneath here.
Will there be one, or do you have to put one
with
there?
The little bell. I have to put one there, and there is one last time, so there should be one there, and there'll also be a link to a previous episode that you might want to go and have a listen to as well if you haven't done that.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Okay, so onlyapodcast.com is our website, and go there and you'll find us. We're on all the socials. Do stay in touch. Email us. Is it hello@onlyapodcast.com?
That's the one.
hello@onlyapodcast.com. If you want to email us something.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere. We're all over it. So say goodbye, Captain.
No, goodbye, Captain.
See you later, folks. See you next time.
See ya.